Preservationists are pushing to save the Allentown State Hospital. It's slated to come down this spring.
A similar fate was in store for the Buffalo State Hospital in western New York, but a different plan went into effect there. WFMZ's Bo Colt now traveled to Buffalo and has this report.
From its twin towers and Gothic feel to a glass entryway and chic interior, Buffalo's former state hospital is a stylish example of old becoming new.
It's a big part of Buffalo history for this historical property, and what they did to it was amazing.
After closing in 1974, the 100-year-old hospital sat vacant for 40 years, and these historical photos show how time took its toll. But what the decades left behind became key for its future.
People really appreciate and admire the craftsmanship.
Mark Mortenson is the executive director of the Richardson Center Corporation, the nonprofit formed after a successful $100 million lawsuit against the state to preserve and restore the remaining 13 buildings sitting on 42 acres.
It was a huge leap of faith, and we were very, very thankful to have a partner like the Hotel Henry to take that leap of faith with us and restore the first 3 buildings.
A trio of local hoteliers form the Hotel Henry Urban Resort Conference Center, and it consists of 88 rooms. And aside from coffee and a drink bar, the center's 100-acre restaurant serves locally sourced food. Conference space for corporate retreats is scattered throughout. A former 4th-floor chapel is now the wedding destination Tower Ballroom, and the basement will soon become the Stan Lipsey Architecture Center, a beacon for highlighting historical design.
Normally hotels have very narrow halls.
Hotel Henry's digital marketing manager, Jessica Mancini, says the building's wide, ominous hallways are now a showcase for art, music, and fitness classes.
When you have a historic building, you got to figure out how to make the negatives become positives.
It's not even negatives becoming positives. It's more taking historic space and creating a modern purpose for it.
And for local artist Pam Glick, the reuse is a chance to highlight her work in an unconventional way.
It's like a game changer for Buffalo. People come here from all around the world, really, to stay here.
The remaining 10 structures have been stabilized, and plans are to fully renovate those too. $100 million, mostly public, has been spent so far. But local Kate Janus says it's well worth it.
And I know it brought money to this part of the city. Friends that I have from out in the burbs who may not have been like West Side, you know, and when we moved here they thought we were crazy, but now they're like, oh wait, the Hotel Henry's on the West Side, and that's a pretty impressive space.
Bo Colt now, 69 News.
All right, well, now you've seen what Buffalo did, so you may be wondering, how did the city do it? Bo takes a look at that in part 2 of his series later at 6. Efforts are underway to save the Allentown State Hospital. The state says it will spend $15 million to demolish the site this spring.
Earlier tonight, 5 o'clock, we showed you what the city of Buffalo, New York was able to do with its own shuttered state hospital. And now we'd like to show you how it was done.
Here's WFMZ's Bo Colt now with part 2 of his series.
Government has a responsibility, absolutely, in my opinion, to protect its assets, even if they're vacant.
Sam Hoyt is like a proud father every time he steps into the former Buffalo State Hospital, now the Hotel Henry. The 19-year New York State Assemblyman was part of a preservation lawsuit against the state of New York for $100 million in the late 1990s to save it.
A community-wide effort, the most powerful members of the business community to, you know, rank and file preservationists and everything in between, who said, we have to save these buildings.
Both Buffalo and the Allentown State Hospital follow a similar design. But unlike Allentown, which has been empty for 9 years, Buffalo sat vacant for 40. Before becoming the Hotel Henry Urban Resort and Conference Center. And the city is no stranger to saving old buildings. Frank Lloyd Wright's Martin House is now a major tourist attraction. And the mansion on Delaware, originally built in 1869, is a boutique hotel.
I think Buffalo has really embraced the need for preservation and understands that preservation can be an important step to the future of our city.
Mark Mortenson is the executive director of the Richardson Center Corporation, the nonprofit formed to preserve and repurpose Buffalo State Hospital.
We use it as an economic driver for tourism.
But how does a community leverage the state for $100 million? Hoyt credits former publisher of the Buffalo News, Stan Lipsey.
The power of the pen and the power of the camera are very significant.
The Allentown State Hospital is set to be demolished this spring. However, a community effort to save it is growing. And recently, we got perhaps a last look inside. Troy Thompson is a spokesman for Pennsylvania's Department of General Services, the state agency heading the property's sale.
Why do you guys want to demolish these structures before a formal deal is signed with the developer?
Well, regardless of that deal, independent of that deal, we feel that the best path to preparing this property for redevelopment and sale is to have the demolition take place.
Currently, local developer Nat Hyman is trying to persuade the state to give him a chance to save it. Back in Buffalo, Hoyt doesn't know our local details, but thinks tearing down any historical building before exploring all options is a mistake.
You can always make an argument as to how money should have been spent. We did a great service to generations to come.
Bo Colt now, 69 News.